TikTok Women's Six Nations has arrived here in Glasgow, and after 2 defeats in the opening 2 rounds, Scotland are hoping it's third time lucky here this afternoon. But one of the favourites, France, are in town, and Brian Eason's side know they'll need to produce a performance even better than last weekend against Wales, where they came agonisingly close to a famous win. Scotland encouraged then by that performance in Wales, even if it ended in a narrow defeat. But now they're completely focused on the job at hand today, and Brian Eason makes 2 changes to his starting lineup. Emma Wassell misses out for the first time since 2014, but Chloe Rowley returns. France have started this year's competition with bonus point home wins over Italy and Ireland, but the last time they faced Scotland, the match ended all square. That was back in October 2020. Head coach Annick Harou makes a whole host of changes today as she freshens the lineup. So it's Scotland against France in round 3 of the TikTok Women's Six Nations. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock live here from Scotstoun. Good afternoon and welcome to our live coverage of Scotland versus France in the Women's Six Nations. Joining me today, I'm delighted to have 2 former Scotland internationals. We've got Megan Kennedy with us and Chris Patterson. Welcome to you both. Chris, I'll start with you. We've been obviously talking a lot about the 2 defeats in the opening 2 games for Scotland, but there was plenty of positives to take away, especially against that game against Wales.
Oh, there are. This Scottish team's on a journey. They've spent a lot of time together over the last 12 or 18 months, had a lot of success in terms of qualification for World Cup in New Zealand towards the end of the year. But the Six Nations is another competition. It's different, it's full on. England in the first week, there was positives, but England are by far and away the #1 team in the world, absolutely. Last week, as you say, huge positives, but there's frustration in the team as well. I think this squad at the moment now where they expect victories as well. The performance is there, and they'll be frustrated with elements of the first half that didn't allow them to get a cushion that would set the platform for the win. We'll have a look at some footage a little bit later on, but huge positives, but they're getting frustrated. They're looking for results as well. Yeah, indeed. Megan, you know this side very, very well. You were part of the Scotland setup in the last Six Nations. You've had to retire, sadly. How's it felt being on the other side of things, watching from afar?
Definitely strange. It's taken a lot of getting used to, but it's been almost a year now since I played last, so I'm slowly getting used to life without it. But I'm just so proud of watching them and seeing them achieve that dream of getting to a World Cup, but also just seeing how they're growing. And like Chris was saying, there are definite positives from the games that they're playing in, but frustrating because they know that they can get the win.
Indeed. Well, this isn't the first Six Nations third round game of the weekend. Of course, England and Wales were in action last night. England 58, Wales 5 is how that finished. England with 3 wins from 3 now, 10 tries for them in that game. Scotland playing France here shortly, of course, and at 5 o'clock today, Ireland host Italy. You can see that one live on BBC iPlayer. Here's how the table looks then. England top, of course, France in second, but with that game in hand for now. Wales third, thanks to those 2 wins in the opening 2 rounds, and Scotland fourth by virtue of that 1 losing bonus point they've picked up. Well, let's see how they're feeling in the Scotland camp ahead of this one. Brian Eason has been speaking to our reporter, Iona Ballantyne.
Brian, 2 defeats in the campaign so far, but I'm sure plenty of positive and encouragement to take, especially against Wales last week.
Yeah, I thought there was positives against England as well. I thought the England game we showed some good composure. Against Wales last week I thought so as well, but the real thing for us is to not have any complacencies at all and start being a little bit more clinical when we've got opportunities.
How's camp been this week since that defeat against Wales last week?
It's been really good. We came in early the week and we did a good review, a good preview of France as well, but the review was really positive. But, you know, we did take things where we're saying, look, we're getting better, but we're at the stage now where we're saying, okay, we're getting better, but let's start putting some victories on the board. It's going to be tough today. We're against the third best team in the world, and we know what to expect. But if we keep putting together the performances we'd have against England and Wales, we're sure that we can start to put some good things together.
Just 2 changes in the squad this week. Do you feel like you've got quite a settled side now?
Yeah, in a way, but we're also building in the fact that we're actually bringing in some new players. Shona Campbell, Emma Orr, Evie Gallagher. It's really good that we're able to push those players. With Emma Wassell being out this weekend as well, I think it's a real positive for the group as well. I feel like it's tough for Emma, surely, and it's tough for us as well. But to have Louise McMillan and Sarah Bonner in there, these 2 really good second rows in their own right.
France are a formidable side, but that match here at Scotstoun in 2020, the 13-all draw, was fantastic just to watch. What are you expecting from them today?
The same again. I think they've played quite well against Italy and Ireland over the first couple of weeks, and they're very good. Their strike plays are excellent, their set piece is very good. They like to play a little bit of unstructured play as well, which in a little way it kind of suits us as well. As long as we keep our phase count high, as long as we play in the right areas, I think we'll be in a good place.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, plenty to be encouraged by from that game last weekend. Chris, let's talk about what the positives were against Wales.
Yeah, well, the start, for first thing, they're on the right side of discipline, the right side of territory, got early tries. This was early on in the game, first 3 or 4 minutes. Megan was a driving maul, getting in the right position because their discipline was good. They won the penalty count, and then that away from home is exactly what you want. Off to a good start with a strong maul.
Absolutely, I think it's key to sort of assert your dominance, especially against such a strong pack like the Welsh. And I think if we can get off to a start like that today against a strong French pack, we'll be doing well. And
this was the second try. Lisa Thompson really making inroads up the midfield from an excellent first phase line. This phase was 3 minutes long. Now, if the ball can play for a minute, it's a long time, but 3 minutes, keeping control of possession, 25 phases, finishing with a slightly fortuitous bounce for Jenny Maxwell's kick for Rona to score. But another, Brian Easton said that he wants to keep the phase count high. That's important. That's an example of what they can do when they keep that phase count high.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, well, my lungs were hurting just watching that passage of play, but definitely if we can retain ball like that, yeah, it's going to be vital.
And this was the start of the second half. Again, really good piece of play. Kept the ball. It was almost from the kick-off, and building through those phases, scoring the try. There's some really good individual play. When you get into that 22, you want to take the opportunities. They didn't take enough in the first half, but the early part of the second half, Scotland took this one.
Yeah, prime example of how Scotland can play. Really utilising every single person on the pitch and everyone putting in the work to get points on the board.
Yeah, there's a really good pass coming up at the end here from Jenny Maxwell to put Rona Lloyd in. But it is really important that Scotland get those phase counts. The French defence is excellent, but it's going to put pressure in the early part of the phases. They want to try and turn the ball over as quick as possible so they can counteract. So that type of play from Scotland was good last week, and hopefully it can be the same this afternoon.
Brian Easton talked a lot about wanting to be more clinical. There is room for improvement, of course, in this side. Let's take a look at what happened against Wales again on the areas that they need to sort of improve on.
Yeah, this was a big opportunity, wasn't it, in the first half? 1 or 2 opportunities missed in the first half. The good thing is they're creating the space to go through. Emma Orr goes through here, who was outstanding in her first start, only just turned 19, but this was a frustrating one, Megan, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like it's just that last pass that just needs to come off, and we'll be on. Here Sarah Bonner did definitely hold her hands up after the game and said that was, I think, a 5-on-1 that should have been finished off. It's just that last pass. Yeah,
and as the second half went on, we know Scotland had a disrupted week with illness and injury last week, that they just got a wee bit tired, got caught on their own 22 here against a big Welsh back. Now the French scrum's even bigger, isn't it? But from here, the yellow card for Leah Bartlett, and Scotland just almost run out of steam in that almost third quarter a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, that was exactly it. I think just ran out of steam, like you said. A lot was asked of that Scotland front row last weekend, just with disruptions due to COVID and other reasons, but they definitely put in a big shift.
Yeah, and it was after eventually getting out of that coffin corner, was just being caught 5 metres from their own line, from the counter-attack Wales scored that went on to be the match-winning try. But Scotland still took heart. This is the clock's in red time. They're 15 phases in, still got an opportunity to win the game, and unfortunately for Jade Kunkel, she knocks on her. Jade was outstanding. She's always outstanding, but she was player of the tournament last week, or player of round 2. But that gives Scotland confidence, because deep in injury time, coming back up against it, they still had an opportunity to win the game.
Yeah. Now, you spoke there a little bit about illness and injury. Of course, there's 2 changes for today's game. Emma Wassell's out. How big a blow is that for the Scotland team?
Of course, Emma's been a key part of this team for, well, 8 years now since she got her first cap, and she will be a loss. But like Brian said in his interview, there are players there to step up and fill her boots, sort of thing. So yeah, she will be a loss, but others are there and ready to take their chance.
Right, let's talk a little bit then about Scotland's opponents today, France. They're so dominant, aren't they, Chris? Let's have a look at a couple of their tries against Ireland last weekend.
They're 2 wins from 2 as well coming at this. 2 home wins. They were really good against Ireland. Ireland are a tough team to play against. And in the number 9, Laurie Sonsus, they've got something almost akin to Antoine Dupont. She controls the game. She scored 2 tries last weekend, but it's her decision-making, Megan. She's a threat around the breakdown, but she's such a good decision-maker off the back of a really good pack.
Absolutely. Like you just said, the French pack are so dominant, and Sonsus will take any chance that she gets in any gap. She'll go through it, so she's a real threat.
They will kick quite a lot, France. I think they'll try and put Scotland under pressure. They'll try and force that error from their defence in Scotland's 22, and if they do get those errors, that's Emily Boulard, the 15 as well. She's quick. She scored in week 1. She scored last weekend as well. Desperately quick. So they've got strike runners across the field, but they're built on a big pack, certainly a big scrum. Their line out can be got up, but their scrum is sensational.
Megan, when you faced France, what was the most worrying thing about them?
I would definitely say the scrum. Very intimidating, but I think it's definitely something that this Scotland pack can handle today.
Okay, finally, how do you think it's going to go then? What do you think is going to happen in this game?
I think it's going to be tight, but I'm back in Scotland for the win.
Chris?
I would love to. I just think, yeah, let's go Scotland. Just the last time it was 20-all here. Let's go for Scotland.
They look just so physical out there. We would really just love a win at this point in the tournament, wouldn't we?
Absolutely. I think that would just lift us at this 3rd round.
It's so important. I mean, France, they can be frustrated away from home, obviously, playing the first 2 games at home, but let's hope Scotland can get one better this afternoon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for just now. I'll hand you over to your commentary today. You're Colin Gregor, Heather Lockhart and Thomas Duncan.
As round 3 of the TikTok Women's Six Nations continues, the pressure and the intrigue only ramps up. Both Scotland and France need victories for different reasons. With 2 wins from 2 so far, the French have their eyes set on the title and a possible Grand Slam ahead of the final week showdown with England. While Scotland just want to make sure they finish the tournament with at least 1 win to signal their continuing improvement before the World Cup in the autumn. There's another healthy crowd here at Scotstoun, as there has been right across the games in what has been a record-breaking Women's Six Nations. What excitement and drama awaits those fans here to cheer on their heroes this afternoon. Scene is set. Both teams in the tunnel, waiting to emerge. The Scotland team came off from their warm-up to very warm applause, just to give them that boost as they went into the changing rooms. But France, as they await to play their first game on the road, they'll not be too phased with the experience they have of coming to Scotstoun with a job to do. Alongside me, former Scotland prop Heather Lockhart. Looking forward to this one, Heather?
Very much so. Scotland against France, always an exciting game. As we said, it was 13-all the last time the sides met here at Scotstoun in 2020, and looking for another exciting game.
Colin, what will be key for Scotland today, do you think?
So much, getting a good start and being defensively really solid, building on the last couple of games, the good that they did against England and against Wales, creating the opportunities, and when they're in those positions, hopefully this time they can cross the whitewash, they can put a little bit of pressure onto France, see how the French are on the road in this Six Nations, as you said, Thomas, for the first time, and get this crowd behind the Scots.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the teams to emerge. And here comes this young and exciting France team, who led out by Céline Ferrer on her 50th cap. the second row forward of vast experience. Well, the last time France were in the West End of Glasgow, they were held to a 13-all draw back in October 2020. They'll be out to make sure it's nowhere near as close this time, given they've racked up 79 points in their first two matches. Plenty of people will expect them to turn on the style again here. Here comes Sarah Law, the Scotland fly half, who could win her 50th cap from the bench this afternoon. A warm and noisy reception from the home fans. The message this week again has been about being more clinical after two good performances. Ultimately ended in defeat for Scotland. Last week's loss to Wales was particularly hard to take, having led 19-7 early in the second half. Regardless of the result, an improved performance here will set them up nicely for the first two matches, the last two matches away to Ireland and Italy. As the smoke disperses at Scotstoun, the stage is set. And before we get underway, Rugby will take its stand against racism and also show its support for the people of Ukraine. Moment of solidarity then for the people of Ukraine from all at Scotstoun, including both teams. And a moment now as well for the former Scotland and British and Irish Lions prop Tom Smith, who sadly passed away this week, aged 50, after a brave battle against cancer. Tom Smith, synonymous with that 1997 Lions tour to South Africa, the victorious tour. Of course, Scotland's Five Nations title win in 1999 as well. A moment of applause in his memory. Touching tribute for a giant of Scottish rugby, and now a jersey laid for Siobhan Cadogan, former Scotland player who sadly died last year at the age of just 26. And now the French national anthem, La Marseillaise. French national anthem, La Marseillaise. Now time for the Scotstoun crowd to join in a rendition of the Scottish national anthem, Flower of Scotland. Scotstoun crowd enjoyed that one. Kick-off moments away. A wrist injury has prevented Emma Wassell from making what would have been an incredible 53rd straight start for Scotland. So Louise McMillan replaces her in the second row, having been on the bench against Wales. It's the only change in the forward pack. There's just one change in the back line as well, with the impressive Shona Campbell ruled out. Chloe Rowley returns at fullback after missing last week, with the aim to add to the try she scored against England in round 1. Such is the depth at their disposal. France have made 9 changes from the win against Ireland. Anel Desai returns at loosehead prop, with Asia Kalfaoui earns her first test start. In the second row, Celine Ferrer starts alongside Madusu Fall. In the backs, the experienced Jessie Tremouliere starts at fly half after coming off the bench in the last 2 games. Marine Ménager makes her first appearance of the championship in an all-new centre pairing alongside Chloé Jacquet. What a test this will be for Scotland. Sarah Law could make her 50th appearance from the bench, and a welcome return for Safi Ndiaye, the vastly experienced and multiple winner of the Six Nations for France. The referee is the Italian, Clara Munarini, taking charge of her first game of this 2022 Six Nations. What a test this will be for Scotland. Can they repeat the remarkable feat of 2 years ago when they held the French to a draw? France hell-bent on trying to secure a Grand Slam. They've business to do before they get to that final showdown with England in Bayonne, which could prove to be a huge game. It'll be Jessie Tremouliere to get us underway at Scotstoun. And it's not claimed, but Gaffney sweeps up. Scotland have the ball. Maxwell gets it away.
Inside.
Can Scotland exit early? Nelson puts a foot through it. Doesn't find touch though. Sansus. Castell fending off a few tackles. That's a penalty to Scotland. Fantastic from Louise McMillan over the ball.
Yeah, really good recognition that France just isolated, initially making the half break, getting away from their support. And Scotland, it's so important if you get half an opportunity to get a turnover to stifle this French defence. Scotland do it really well.
Yeah, Scotland's line out's been working really well. They'll be hoping to get a good set piece first off here.
Yeah, Lisa Thompson taking the kicking duties as usual from hand, gets them into the French half early on, and Lana Skeldon will test herself early at the line out. Important to keep it tight. Scotland's line out has been pretty good so far, particularly against England in that first game. Skeldon finds Bonner. And a good platform for Scotland to get going. A huge early hit though. Conkle onto McMillan. Nelson puts up the up and under, an early test taken by Sansus. The general of this French team, fantastic player, Laure Sansus. Laurens goes up the left-hand side in France. Sansus with a box kick. Nelson's under it.
Top white.
There's a bit of a mix-up there between the backfield and French backfield. They return though, and Rowley will have to scramble back. She has time though, the full back. It's returned again from Tremouliere. Rona Lloyd turns it again. A bit of tennis early on with the boot. Both sides just feeling each other out. is Jessie Tremoulier, who often plays fullback for France, playing fly half today. Finally finds touch.
Yeah, I think that's a 50-22. Is it inside her half? It's an excellent recognition from Tremoulier. There's not a huge amount of space, but she lands it on a sixpence. She gets the bounce of the ball, and as a result, it's a French put into the line out. So, as you were saying, Thomas, a bit of kick tennis. France coming out on top on that occasion. Chance to launch an attack.
Yeah, usually at full-back, but playing at 10 today. Former world player of the decade.
Laura Touillet to throw in. France's first line-out when it's claimed by foul, and they'll get the ball going. Chance to rumble on. Touillet has it at the back. She's got away down the short side. France set it up. Ferrer takes it forward.
No advantage.
It's going to be a France penalty.
One here.
Not quite sure what that one was for, but
not rolling, and contact in the air.
So Scotland, 2 penalties. There was contact in the air when France were setting up their maul initially, and then too slow to roll away at the subsequent when the French line out or maul had broken away. And France, Tremoulier just kicking back into the corner, just building this pressure. So big challenge for this Scottish forward pack to stop the French forwards getting any momentum into their maul.
Great chance. Touillet throws in. It's not straight. An error, a welcome one from a Scottish point of view. Sloppy from France.
The first scrum.
Yeah, just seeing the replay there, it's very clear, isn't it, that catching it on the outside of the jump, I think on that occasion it was foul. And it, made it an easy decision for the referee to give the not straight one, but big pressure on this Scottish scrum. As Heather says, the first of the game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Scotland hold up against the power of the French scrum.
Crouch.
It'll be Maxwell to put in.
Mind. Set.
And it goes, and it's cleanly hooked back, but there comes the squeeze from France, but Scotland just get it away. And Lisa Thompson does the dirty work, trucking it up. Maxwell gets it away. Oh, it's loose though, and it's bouncing about, and France are in there.
No hands, no hands.
Scotland just about still have the ball. Bartlett managed to pounce on it. They're behind their own line. Can France drive them back? Scotland just about securing it. Here goes the captain, Malcolm. Maxwell again. Scotland just trying to create the space for the kick, but it's proving challenging, and eventually they get the penalty. Not rolling away, I think. French number 3.
Big carry from Evie Gallagher in the middle of that there, just when they were right on their own line. She got them back on the front foot. As we just see again, the support of Scotland's really, really good in making sure that there's no chance of a French turnover, and we can see clearly French legs not rolling away. Clever from Scotland as well. They almost pinned the French defender in there when making the referee make a decision on it. And an excellent clearing kick from Thompson.
Yes, Evie Gallagher on her 10th cap today, made 16 carries last week against Wales, and really a tremendous job on the line there.
Yeah, playing 7 again, plays 6 or 8 as well, Evie Gallagher. Skeldon throws in. Conkle takes it at the back, and France are up to disrupt. Intent on getting Scotland on the back foot as Juliana Ree tries to rip the ball, but Scotland keep it. Struggling to get out their own half at the moment, Scotland. French defence up quickly, giving them no time. As Bartlett moves it on, Nelson to Skeldon, show and go from the hooker, that's tremendous. Bonner.
No hands, please, stay on.
Maxwell. Maxwell back to Nelson. A right-footed kick claimed. France happy to just kick it straight back, not chosen to run one yet, and that was just about held on play on, says the referee. And Chloe Rowley thumps it away. Sansus, the little magician, with a little chip over the top, it bounces off, and Laure Sansus with a fantastic individual try, and that's exactly what she's all about. Absolutely fantastic from the French scrum half.
Yeah, she noticed no one was at home in the backfield, and a lovely little chip over the Scottish defence, and a superb finish.
Yeah, we just see it again. She does well gathering it right on the touchline, and the recognition that I think it's Scotland just get their kick chase wrong, that no one realises that there's the acres of space in the backfield, and the execution of the chip and chase from Sansus is fantastic. Just delicately weighted chip. She gets the bounce, just bounces up perfectly for her to gather without breaking stride. Bit of individual brilliance, but it came from the aggression of the French defence. Gave Scotland no choice but to clear their lines, and that created the opportunity for Sansus.
Jessie Tremoulière with her first attempt at goal of the afternoon. Straight between the sticks, and France lead 7-0. That fantastic try from Laure Sansus, scored 2 against Ireland last week. Assisted off the bench against Italy as well. She really is a phenomenal player. You can see it here.
Yeah, she was player of the match last week, and she really is an outstanding player. And as Colin says, the French defence has come up so hard. They've only conceded 1 try in 2 matches, so it's going to take a lot of effort to unlock that French defence.
Scotland need a response quickly. Thompson hoists that one high on the 22, gathered and taken up by Gaillarmé, the French captain. Sansus gets it away to Tremoulière. Taken by Rowley on to Conkle, who always looks for work. Huge carrier for the Scotland side, Jade Conkle. Gallagher goes round outside, fended off a couple of tackles. Here's Bonner. Into midfield, Conkle again. Scotland with another penalty in a useful position. Jade Conkle, such a ferocious carrier, hard worker.
Yeah, she did well to get Scotland onto the front foot there on a couple of occasions, and we can just see that the tackler, 2-8, the French hooker, doesn't roll away. But Scotland, they can see if they can get through some phases, they're going to have real intensity in that French defence. I think Annery at 6 and Hermé, the captain, at 7, they're leading that French defensive line. They're applying pressure, they're wanting to make big tackles. But if Scotland can get through the phases, you can see the French discipline will creak. They might give away the penalties. This is the first attacking position Scotland have had so far. Yeah,
Lisa Thompson's definitely brought her kicking boots today. Another tremendous kick up to just outside the 22. Skeldon finds her player. There's an offside.
That's hard lines, Scotland, good ball to the back, that's been working.
Just see it not straight, the call again from Munarini, the referee, which it wasn't quite as apparent as the French one, as we see a replay. Okay, maybe it was. I thought it was more on the body, but it was still slightly outside arm. And again, for the referee, it's especially when France are going up, they're wanting to compete for it, so it's not a fair competition. I think on that occasion, Skeldon, just technique not quite right. The ball didn't travel as far as she would have liked.
Yeah, it was working in the England game, and it was absolutely the right call, but yeah, just a wee bit sharper there, and we'd have been in.
The number of squint throws you see uncalled in rugby, so.
And good consistency. Call one early on, then you've sort of made your set your stall out. So yeah, fair play.
Good scrum by Scotland.
solid from both teams, but France get it away, and Raleigh, who's seen a lot of action down this end of the pitch so far, gathers, and she'll run this one, puts the little kick in, and there's a collision there with Celine Ferrer. And that looked a sore one, but it's play on. They may have a look at that. It's kicked.
50-22 again.
It's another 50-22, tremendous. And that new rule change, which gives the kicking team the ball, if they kick from their own half and it bounces out in the 22, is so advantageous. Here's the collision between Raleigh and Ferrer.
It's just whether there's any intent or a stray leg out, or is it, could the leg of Ferrer been brought in there, or was that deliberate? Heather, you can make the call on that. What's the TMO Ben Whitehouse going to say on this one?
Let's have it from another angle here.
Yeah. Okay. Rachel, penalty. Block. Penalty. Yeah.
There we go. Munarini has decided that it is a penalty. It is a sore one for Chloe Raleigh as well, isn't it?
She's still down.
Yeah, receiving treatment. We hope that she manages to shake that off.
Yeah, they'll know. France will know Chloe Raleigh is a threat and evasive runner, and yeah, the penalty called here.
Yeah, the referee, Clara Munarini, has now decided that's a penalty, nothing more. But rather than France with the... Just listen to the referee here.
Yeah, if the penalty, the infringement was at the same time, immediately when the ball is kicked, we got the option. In this case, not. Thank you so much.
Did you know that, Heather? Good clarification of the rules there from Munarini, the referee.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's what she's there for.
Here. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully, Scotland will be looking to execute their line out with more precision this time.
What's the swings of a game that, if that wasn't called, then France have the line out down in Scotland's 22, and now Scotland have the chance to hopefully stick the ball down in France's 22.
Yeah, and it's been a good response from Scotland since conceding that try, that wonderful individual score from Son Sus, that they've got a bit of territory, they've put a bit of pressure on France. France in and around their own 22, out to their own 10-metre line, no interest in playing any rugby. They're just looking to kick, apply pressure to Scotland. On that occasion, illegally, and Sarah Thompson can hopefully pop this down towards the French 22 again. And yes, Scotland get their line-out accuracy a little bit sharper, then it's a great attacking position.
Yeah, the sort of position they need to start making the most of, as Lisa Thompson with the right boot does get Scotland into the 22. Another fantastic kick.
She really is very accurate with those kicks, so superb opportunity here for Scotland. France will be looking to contest.
Skeldon needs to get this one right. It's spilled and France are on it again. Great disruption from the visiting side, and Sonsus sends it down the pitch, well taken by Lloyd. 2 tries last week against Wales, looking to stretch her legs, but she's knocked back. Nielsen hesitated, and foul comes in with a thumping hit on the Scotland fly half. And that sums up this French defence, aggressive, but Scotland have the penalty. Offside, maybe too keen to get off the line.
Yeah, foul. She's only one of 2 players in this side today that have played in all 3 matches, and there her real desire and intent to bring up the defensive line was evident, but just giving away a penalty there.
You feel for poor Helen Nelson at fly half there. She's looking to the width. She thinks it's on for Scotland. There is space out on that left-hand side to attack, but Scotland hadn't realigned quite quickly enough, so there's no one wanting the ball. So by the time she then gets herself ready for a carry, she's got a horizontal foul into her midriff. Does well to secure possession, though. I think there was a deliberate knock on the next phase, giving Scotland another chance. So the last couple of throws from Skeldon, just underthrown, just needs to really commit to this throw, get the accuracy. That's excellent work.
Much better. Bonner claims it, and Scotland can set up the maul. Bonner drops the knees. They need to get tighter and look to make way. France holding it up though. Advantage Scotland, so on we go. Thompson peels it back for Nelson, who cuts back inside, drops the ball, but will come back for that penalty.
Number 3, swimming. Number 3. There.
You explain, Heather, what swimming means when the Munarini, the referee, says that coming up the side of the maul.
Yeah.
The French prop.
Yeah, I think number 3, Kalfawi, was just coming through here, and yeah.
It was just
not
before
allowed
that
to do that.
she changed her bind
as well.
So,
yeah.
So again, Scotland building the pressure. French discipline not particularly sharp just now. So
5 penalties conceded already for France.
In the warm-up, Gail Mignot, the former French captain, was working with them in the line-out, and their defensive line-out is France is putting Scotland under a bit of pressure here. So execution.
Again, Skeldon finds Bonner. Scotland will try again. The roars from the Scotstoun crowd urge Scotland on. They're inching forward, looking to build the momentum. Held up again, and Maxwell is down at the bottom of that ruck. They'll need to keep it tight here, Scotland, while their scrum half gets back to its feet. Another ferocious hit. Maxwell goes short to Skeldon. Scotland have been good at building phases in their previous 2 games, but need to get some go forward. Maxwell. Strong carry. Will they go wide? They do. Nelson to Lisa Thompson. Always a willing runner. Another big hit in midfield. Here goes Belisle. Great carry. Maxwell onto Bonner. Met with another big hit from Kalfaoui. Oh, Nelson puts the kick in. They were playing advantage. You always wonder, Heather, whether there seems always to be a rush to kick it when you've got advantage. Should they just have played there?
There were some fantastic carries there, really, really good phase play there. Just before that, Christine Belisle had an absolutely outstanding, really, really good hard leg drive, and Sarah there. So certainly they know Scotland have scored in this tournament by going through the phases, so they'll be looking to keep the pressure on and possibly take the kick here.
Yeah, look, 7 penalties there for France, which is, you know, you're looking to keep it to single figures across a whole 80 minutes, so 7 already is pretty alarming from their point of view.
It's maybe worth Rachel Malcolm just having a word to Munarini, the referee, just to think, is she thinking about a yellow card just for the persistent offences? Certainly the only way that France were stopping that multi-phase attack from Scotland there was illegally. That Scotland did really well going through. Skeldon, you just see how dynamic she is from a standing start, just getting Scotland just even a half yard onto the front foot, and then once Scotland had got out to that left-hand side, the great carry from Belisle through the middle of the French defence, and then Scotland playing one pass wider, looking to run off Maxwell into the midfield. That's where France then infringe, and as you say, Thomas, maybe Scotland could have kept ball in hand rather than thinking, oh, we've got an advantage, we could try the high-risk chip kick, which France snuff out, but really good attack and great passage of pressure from Scotland.
Yeah, you mentioned there the pop pass, that extra pass. I think because the French are so physical at that breakdown, so just eluding those 2 tacklers and just getting that extra pass in will help.
Here we go then after a lengthy stoppage. Everyone got their breath back, and Scotland are going to take the points. Ella Nelson to line up the kick. 94 points for Scotland in her career. A relatively straightforward attempt, you would think. Yep, no mistake from Helen Nelson, and Scotland are on the board, which you would think Colin Gregor would be good for confidence and to take something after that multi-phase attack.
Yeah, and a good response from the French score, despite you trying to give the commentators curse for the relatively easy kick. Fortunately, Helen Nelson didn't hear you put it straight through the middle, and now it's important that Scotland regather this restart. Oh, France have made the error, so yeah, that's a good outcome for Scotland now. Scrum on halfway, and you're thinking after best part of 20 minutes, 7-3 to France, Scotland will be pretty happy with how the opening quarter's gone.
Yeah, they're dealing with that French defence now, and the last scrum was with absolute parity, so Scotland will be looking again just to really exert force through the scrum and get parity.
Yeah, it's just that moment of magic really from Laure Saint-Sus, which has got France in front. That try is all the difference at the moment, but other than that they've not had much, and you can see there 72% of possession for Scotland. They'd have taken that before kick-off after the first quarter.
It's now putting that pressure into points, isn't it, or the possession into points, so great attacking position. Whether the backs have got a wee strike move here.
France just so powerful. It's a good offload there from Conkle, manages to get it away. Scotland under a bit of pressure, they're relying on Lloyd to make the yards, and she does that so well. Maxwell, that was slightly behind Malcolm, gathered and took the contact. Nelson, the clearance, straight out. Unfortunate, they were just on the back foot the whole time there, Scotland.
Yeah, the scrum, France did a very powerful scrum there and just started to get the nudge on. Jay Conkle at 8 doing well, and Jenny just well to get the ball away and the ball out to Rona Lloyd on the wing there. But the kick just not going straight out.
Again, it's just that French pressure that they put in through the aggression of their defence, starting that scrum time, putting the pressure on its set piece and then building it throughout the phases.
France have been prolific from first phase moves so far as foul carries strongly. Here goes Deay. Saint-Sus whips it away. Here's Boulard. First time the visitors have really put together a number of phases without kicking. Here's foul again. Eventually taken down. Saint-Sus to Tremoulière. Whips it out of the back to Jacquet. Here's Ménager. And a knock on there. France unable to build momentum.
I think Ménager got the arms free to get the offload away, but it just goes to ground. So we see good Scottish defence as France look to go to the width. Scotland have got numbers, they've got good line, good defensive alignment, and then we see Ménager in the tackle from Thompson, tries to give it out the back of the hand to her second row teammate Ferrer. It's almost Ferrer wasn't expecting it, she was just looking to latch on, get the ball away for the next phase.
Good passing though from that attack though from France, some excellent passing.
It's an all-new centre pairing for France today, with Chloé Jacquet and Marine Ménager in for her first appearance of the tournament. Maxwell gets the feed in and goes to ground, but it's play on, and Scotland just about get it away. It's a bit of a sliced kick, but Rona Lloyd is there to pick up, and she's well met by Boulard. Good defence from the French fullback. Maxwell struggling to get the ball away, but get it away she does. Nelson with a clearance. France return, they're just quite happy to kick, no interest in running it so far. Tremoulière takes a few strides, prods another one in. Maybe looking for 50-22, but that one more going down the middle. Here's Nelson again. Can she find touch? She can.
Yeah, great kick from Nelson, getting it just over Saint-Sus's head, bouncing it into touch. But Tremelier's kicks that the trajectory of the ball's really flat, and I think it just covers the distance a lot quicker. It doesn't let the Scottish defence get into position to regather balls, so she's finding the grass a lot, and it just puts the pressure back onto Scotland.
Yeah, Tremoulier, like she really picked her in between the two Scottish defenders there. Really, really good kick.
Touillet with the throw, claimed. And on we go. Foul. Back to Jacquet. Ménager. France go wide. It's Boulard. Boulard still going, puts the kick in. Scotland need to scramble back. Gaffney's there, but it trickles into touch. France going for that little dink over the top once more.
Well done to Scotland, to Gaffney covering, but if you see here, foul on this occasion used as a decoy, almost linking with the outside backs. The phase before the line out, she'd carried really aggressively into the Scotland defence. So smart play from France, just mixing up that point of contact, mixing up the type of attack and getting good rewards from it.
And put the Scotland line out under pressure, which hasn't functioned too well so far, but that one is claimed in vital circumstances. Bartlett carries that one up. Nelson with another pretty good clearance, but France looking to turn the screw.
Yeah, they're certainly putting France are certainly putting Scotland under pressure at that line out, but good clearance there.
Thank you.
Just going back to your point on Foul, she's definitely there for a reason. 3 matches in a row. Yeah.
Great carrier, great to watch when she gets hands on ball.
That one spilled by Ferrer. France go wide again. Here's Jacquet. Oh, good tackle. Emma Orr, the 19-year-old. On our second cap, making a crucial hit in midfield. Lorenz. Scotland sense a turnover here, and they've got it. No, penalty to France. Off feet.
On the ground, just to stay.
Super tackle by Emma Orr, though, before that, in the phase before. Only 19, making her second start today, came on for her debut last week, and great intent.
Just see Scotland there. I think is it Jade Conco trying to bluff the referee because the ball's the other side from her. I think with the assistant referee on this near side, the referees work together, and you can see just using her hands when she was on the ground, giving away the penalty. France just building the pressure.
It's claimed again. And on we go with them all, and Jade Conco's trying to get in there, disrupting. Here's Sansu, so difficult to pin down. Eventually Scotland scrag her to the deck.
Use it!
The pressure building for France. Emmeline Gros involved there. Inching towards that Scotland line. Here's Sansus, gets it to Tremoulier, who shows and goes on the inside. Try France. The pressure tolls, and the vastly experienced French fly half extends their lead.
Try for France, scored by number 10, Jessie Tremoulier.
It's that girl, Jessie Tremoulier, World Player of the Decade. Really hard carries by France, and just a simple show and go, and she unlocks the defence.
So we just see again, Scotland's defence is good, it's snuffing it out, but France just getting on the front foot and just keeping the ball in 2 hands there. Jennifer Maxwell in the defensive line at scrum half, because you're that close to your own line. She's just not sure whether she's got the support inside. She's worried about the French threats outside. Tremoulier recognises that. Half dummy through the gap. Excellent recognition from the French fly half.
Jessie Tremoulier will attempt to convert her own score. And she does. 14-3 France, and given they've been far from their best, they'll be pretty happy with that.
France scored by number 10.
Yeah, just building the pressure. They got the penalty, they kicked it to the corner, and although Scotland's maul defence was good, Conkle disrupting at the back. The loose ball for Sansus, it's almost the ideal platform that she wants, where Scotland's defence isn't set. Great sidestep off that right foot, gets France back on the front foot, and they just go through the phases. Tremoulier is over the line.
Scotland will be looking now to turn their possession into territory, more pressure.
Sansus with a box kick, under good pressure. Here's Rowley, recovered from her earlier clash with Ferrer running the yards. Maxwell to Belisle. It's Emmeline Gros in there making the hit. French number 8, slow ball for Scotland. Here's Nelson over the pop, it was blind, but penalty to Scotland.
Yeah, superb opportunity here for Scotland.
It's another big carry from Belisle that gets Scotland on the front foot, and on that occasion it gets Emmeline Gros, the French number 8, who you can hear referee Munarini saying she has to be quicker with rolling away. As a result, she did slow the Scottish attack down. No advantage, and again Lisa Thompson pops Scotland into the corner, into the French 22.
Yeah, Christine Belisle, another good performance so far. Canadian born.
Sorry.
Did figure skating in Canada when she was younger, so don't know how you go from that to prop, but she's making it work. She's doing extremely well.
She's a converted prop. She's really only been playing in the last 2 years at tight head, so superb job, especially playing against the French today with more back row, second row.
Yeah, she's certainly put in a couple of really useful carries for Scotland, especially with France's defence so aggressive. And this is another good chance, but the line-out has to be good.
Yeah, it's what you have to do when you're faced with an aggressive defence. You have to go at it, and rather than it like almost standing and trying to absorb it, because that's where they'll smash you. You need to get your big ball carriers like Belisle to front up, and she is doing that, and she's getting Scotland on the front foot when she has carried. And on that, as we see there, the French number 8, she was the latest infringer. So Scotland, are they going to go for a maul again, or maybe try and launch the back, see if we can get some sort of...
just evades the hand of Jade Conkle.
You can see the French are putting Scotland under massive pressure at line-out, aren't they?
Yeah, and there was quite a lot of movement there in the Scottish line-out. Maybe keep it a bit more simple, but that's probably because the pressure that they're being put under by the French side.
Does it become psychological after a while, Heather, when you've lost a few?
I think they're not losing. That there was it wasn't straight in one. It's just pressure, and so it's not clean ball. They're looking to play off clean ball, and France are definitely putting under pressure on that front.
France will no doubt turn the screw again in the scrum here.
Blind.
Scotland do have the put in.
Set.
Goes in from Maxwell, comes out the back. Ball is out, says the referee. Maxwell under pressure from her opposite number. Scotland again just not getting any clean ball at the moment from the set piece. It's all on the back foot. Bonner nudges over the gain line. Here's Lisa Thompson. Bartlett smashed by Juliana Rhee. French back row lively this afternoon. Conkle again for Scotland. And now they go out wide. Maxwell to Rowley, quick hands to Thompson in the outside channel. Scotland struggling to make ground, and a steal from France, just so quick to get in there in the ruck, and Sansus puts up the box kick to get them out of trouble, and it bounces into touch.
I think Scotland's attack, it's looking positive. It's almost threatening, but the French defence is ferocious. Just the line speed, the intent they're getting off the line, as we see there again. It's,
beautiful pass by Chloe there.
Yeah, just Hernat though trying to get in the eye line, or Hermé, sorry, And then a crunching tackle from Fall. Good recognition from not always expecting your prop, Scalfaui, on that occasion to get over ball and secure the turnover. And then Sansus keeping the theme of the French half, no nonsense near their own 22, just clear their own lines.
And another line out doesn't go to plan for Scotland. Again, not straight, and as you said earlier, Colin, Clara Munarini, nothing if not consistent with calling those at the line out.
Yeah, on that occasion you see the Scottish jumper jumps across the line out, so actually the flight of the ball, many times that would be fine, but because the Scottish line out has jumped so lateral almost, then it makes it look like it is a squint throw. So again, it's just the pressure that France are applying at set piece time. Scotland are struggling to get a hold of any quality ball.
Set.
Sansus puts the ball in. Gros back to the scrum half, who's like the kick, and Castell chases it. Rolly shows and goes round her well, and then meets Emmeline Gros with another thumping hit. Maxwell onto Sarah Bonner. France in there again, just no easy ball for Scotland. It's just disrupted. France with a turnover. Here goes Touye. Sansus away. Jacquet can't gather that ball, but Tremoulier sweeps up, and now it's away, and here's Lorraine down the wing. She's got Bullard inside, she doesn't see her. France still with the ball, Ferrer in possession. Here goes Sansus. Scotland scrambling to get back. Oh, it's a turnover. Scotland have won it. They've pinched it. Terrific defence. And Maxwell holds it. Just taking a breath. Trying to regroup. Oh, and the box kicks charged down, and it's into the hands of the French player, and it's Sansus, I think, again, in the right place at the right time to touch down. Her second try, France's third, and that was unfortunate for Jenny Maxwell, but her opposite number was on it quick as a flash to touch down.
Yeah, it was tough because Scotland had turned it over, but just the French pressure there from the box kick. And Sansus, quick as you like. Great take.
Yeah, so disappointing for Scotland, having managed to scramble defence and get the turnover, but it's the French captain, Hermé, there. You can see her just getting in position to charge the kick down. She does well to get through almost the Scottish protective wall. And Sansus, ever alert, recognises where the ball is, but it's come at a cost for the French scrum half, who's in a lot of discomfort as she's getting some treatment. Still on the try line.
Such a wonderful player, carrying on that fine tradition of French nines. Tremoulier will attempt her third conversion, 100% so far. This one, the trickiest of the lot, and it goes in.
Makes it look easy. Beautiful strike.
Fantastic there.
Such an experienced player, Jessie Tremoulier, guided her club, ASM Romagnac, to their first title for 26 years last season. Brought back into the side off the bench in the last two games, starts today, and she's definitely brought her kicking boots with her.
Yeah, she's playing like she's always played at 10, which is usually a full-back, so well done, Tremoulier.
Just one of those players that just has time on the ball, just that classy operator. There was a couple of touches that she had in the lead up to that score, just real good play, and just, yeah, that was almost the first time we saw France cutting loose. The intensity of their defence. They win the turnover, they get a couple of offloads, they get on the front foot. It's great to watch. To see the restart again. Good ball from Thompson, making it competitive. Scotland do really well to get up, disrupt the French ball, but on that occasion they knock on in the process. It's just a shame for Scotland to concede that third try just before half-time. If you could get to the 40-minute mark at 14-3, you think that's a decent half. when he won 3 is a different complexion on the scoreboard.
French scrum, it's been dynamic so far. No trouble again as Gros pops her head out.
Fantastic
gets
scrum
back.
there by Scotland.
She looks to have shaken off that back injury from the try, and a tremendous kick.
50-22 again. It's great recognition from Tremoulier of the space. It's incredibly difficult for Scotland to defend because you need to have your wingers up to identify where the threat is. So poor Chloe Rolly's got the whole backfield to cover. Tremoulier is just, it's a wonderful kick again. Gets the bounce of the ball as well, but she's almost earned that with the quality of the strike.
Yeah, the rule change borrowed from Rugby League, the old 40-20. It certainly encourages teams to attack. Touye with the ball at the back of the maul. France get rid of it. Here's Jacquet dancing away from a few tacklers. Sansus to Hermé. Munarini, and it's through, and Gaël Hermé scores France's 4th try. The captain, the latest to get on the score sheet. Huge for them, seconds before the break. And it was scrappy again. And again, it's a blue jersey there to capitalise.
Yeah, fantastic link play there, just directly straight through. Good feet there by Jacquet.
This will be the last action of the first half, the conversion to come, which is ended in disappointment for Scotland.
Yeah, it's the quality of the offload off the ground from Munarini that just recognition that Scotland's defence is fragmented. She's in control of the ball, she lies on her back, she just lifts it up. It's just keeping that attack alive. Scotland don't recognise that. It's a quality score.
Tremoulier converts. It's 4 converted tries for France. A dominant first half from them. They've not had it all their own way, but they've been clinical. 2 tries from Sansus, 1 from Hermé, 1 from Tremoulier herself. And at half-time, it's Scotland 3, France 28.
So yes, an intriguing 40 minutes here at Scotstoun. It is France who have taken the lead going into the break, 28 points to Scotland's 3. It was Sansus with the first for France, Tremoulier with the second, Sansus and Hermé who took that 4th try. A very physical game, some big hits so far here at Scotstoun, but France in a very positive position as we enter the break. Yes, it's been very physical here at Scotstoun so far. Chris, what have you made of the first half?
Oh, France are so clinical. They're 9 and 10 are running the game. The platform's there, but their kicking game is exceptional. Tremoulier at 10 has just set up every opportunity really for the team to be in the right position. Sansus, we spoke about her beforehand, 2 tries, the first one a wonderful piece of skill, but Scotland will be so frustrated to lose those 2 late tries just before half time. 14-3, you know, it was a far better reflection really, but the quality of the final 2 tries stems from their 9 and 10 really. They really are fantastic players.
Absolutely. Megan, there's been some big hits out there. Unfortunately, Scotland's been on the bad end of those hits mostly. What is it about France that is just so physical?
I think they really target the first couple of phases and they just look to suffocate. And we can see that there. Scotland are getting no chance to do anything. But they aren't perfect. They do make mistakes, and we've seen that in the penalty count. I think we're up at maybe 8 or 9 now, which is, well, it's high because you're looking for less than that in a whole game, and that's just the first half. But they do just look to suffocate for the first couple of phases. But if Scotland can just hold on, they will start to break them down.
Yeah, we are going to talk about France's discipline, or ill-discipline, as it has been throughout the first 40 minutes. First, let's go to the tries, though. Sansus from France with an early try and an individual effort, really, Chris.
Yeah, we said beforehand that France will kick a lot, and they have done. They've looked for that space in behind. Chloe Rowley and Helen Nelson in the backfield here, but they both chase, and Sansus is so clever. There's the space in behind. It's a short kick this time, but to have the ability to do that in full flow and the pace to finish off, it looks easy, it's not. That is a tremendous piece of play. The scanning firstly, and then chipping over that front line defence where, you know, both Scottish defenders were in the backfield. They both flew up. One should really stay back there. But that still has to be seen. It still has to be executed, and it's a wonderful try.
Yeah, that was Sansus with the opening try for France there. Tremoulier was with the second. Not so much an individual effort on this one. France working well individually and as a team today.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're working well off their set piece. Scotland line-out seems to be struggling, and France are definitely taking advantage of any loose ball. As you were saying, Sansus will take advantage of anything, and I think the experience of Tremoulier at 10 is really working in France's favour. She's normally a 15, but as you can see, she's controlling the game really well, and they're working well as a pair.
Yeah, the attacking width that France offer there in terms of their positioning pulls the Scottish defence out. Tremoulier sees that, and because I think it's Megan Gaffney and the others are worried about the width, worried about the players on the edge, they automatically slide rather than come forward, and Tremoulier just glides through the gap. But that comes after the field position, and Tremoulier has given them that field position through the kicking game.
Sansus is just such a dangerous player. Her second try, though, was it a little bit more right place, right time?
Well, it was in the end, but she created that space. She actually had a wonderful break just before this, and then from the pressure from the attempted clearance, it bounced back in her favour. But she'd actually made a break just immediately before that, and just, you know, as quick as you like, that sniped that in there, and then the bravery to get low and hard at line and score. She really is. She took a dunk there in the lower back, but she's been outstanding.
We would have hoped that it would have been a bit closer going into the break, but France just got that fourth try really right at the end there. Hermet, the captain. Talk us through this one then, Megan, because that's just the last thing that Scotland would have wanted going in after the break.
Yeah, I think if they could have gone in at half-time, 14 points to 3, that would have, whilst they're still behind, it's a different sort of mindset. Those other two tries have sort of put France further ahead than we'd have liked, and it's just sort of, Scotland are in the fight, and well, we've seen their mentality last week. They never give up, so I think we are in store for an exciting second half.
You can see France just giving that extra pass there. They didn't do that earlier on in the game until they got that comfortable lead, really. They would have held on to most of those possessions. There, Jacquet, the centre's just shifting it late. It's so difficult to defend against because the ball's moving, and then Hermie, who scored, was involved twice, I think, in the lead up before that, and then she got the score of the captain, so she's impressive in the back row.
Well, one person that might be missed from this Scotland team is Emma Wassell. She's not in today's side because she's out with injury, but she is speaking to Iona Ballantyne.
Emma, an incredible run of 54 test matches in a row. Does it feel really weird not playing today?
Yeah, it was hard lining up for the anthems there. I struggled, but you know what, like we've got players that can step up, and it's tough, and I'm gutted to not be out there, but it's exciting to watch them.
I have to say it was really weird actually watching the first half and not seeing you play, because we're so used to seeing you. But can you tell us, how are you doing and how is your injury? What's kind of next for you?
No, good. It's like I've had a bit of an injury that if I was to make it any worse, it could be a long-term injury, and it's just such a big year that it's too silly to risk it, just for to keep another game going. And I think I don't want to be playing out there if I'm not 100%. There's too much to risk, and hopefully with a few weeks I'll be in a much better place. Unsure what, but yeah, the time came.
Emma, tell us though, how did you manage such an amazing run of games?
That's a lot of luck. That is a lot of luck. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of games in the most recent years, but like my early kind of, at the start of my career, like it was maybe 5 games a year, and that was just Six Nations. But obviously now we've got autumn tests, summer tests, we obviously have had the qualifiers, so it's like game time we've got much more, and in terms of how the game's going, there's just a much higher demand on our training and kind of pressures that we're under. So like it was going to happen, and you know what, I am still super lucky. There's people in much worse positions to me, and you know what, it's really made me think about that, and this kind of taking this wee step back only gives you more fire in your belly to go again.
Well, Emma, you were there at the sidelines, you were watching that first half. Give us your thoughts on a formidable French side.
The girls will be frustrated. I know, like, we have always known that French offloading game is lethal, and we've seen that. Like, that needs to be shut down. I think there's been a little bit of miscomms out there. Things maybe just haven't gone quite right. I know they'll be frustrated and there'll be things to sort, but you know, I fully believe that they'll come straight back at them.
What about Scotland? What do they need to do in the second half from your perspective, seeing this?
I think it's fronting up, like the French are coming at us, and we need to do exactly the same. I think in terms of the kicking battles that are going on, just finding space, looking for that space, and I think we've obviously got threats in the forwards and just clicking things together. I mean, line-out maul just hasn't gone quite right for us yet, but we know that's a threat. So we, just fix it. There's small fixes, but will make a big difference, and hopefully we can see that in the second half. You
know this squad so well. What will they be saying in the dressing room right now?
They'll be tough on themselves. They will be very tough on themselves, and they'll be disappointed as well, because we know how the French play, and we knew how they were going to come at us, and it's just being able to defend that and attack against it. I would expect a big second half.
Tell us though, what is it like being part of this squad right now? You're on such a good run, even just to qualify for the World Cup. As a squad as a whole, do you feel like you're in a good place?
Yeah, I have honestly, this squad is my everything. So you know what, even being part of game day today is special to me, because it's not just about getting on the pitch, it's all the training, it's everything that we do before. We've had a really incredible couple of months. Obviously qualifying for the World Cup, huge, but we knew going into Six Nations it was a huge challenge, and I think after the England and the Wales game we have put in some good performances, but we've still got more to give, and we know that, and I think that is what we want to show today. So again, yeah, girls will be frustrated, but we are pushing each other on all the time, and we are lucky we've still got 2 more games after this to go, and realistically, this is preparation for the World Cup. That is everything that we're working towards.
Brilliant, Emma. Well, we do hope to see you back soon, and enjoy the second half. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was Emma Wassell there talking to Iona Ballantyne. She kind of undersold herself there when she said her incredible run of starts is down to luck. That's not the case, is it?
No, I wouldn't say so. She's an incredible person, but also an incredible player, and I think it just shows her resilience. She has been through. She's not been pain-free and injury-free that whole time, and I think she's just battled on, because like she said, this team is everything to her, and I think that shows that she's gone 8 years without missing one game. So yeah,
it's incredible. Chris, we were talking before the game how big a miss she was going to be. After that first 40, has that highlighted more how big a loss she is?
I think if you lose somebody with her experience and her quality and ability, it's always a big miss. I think, talking to Megan, the line-out calling, Emma Wassell does all the line-out calling and runs that line-out. So there's maybe a miss there, absolutely, but she offers herself to carry possession the whole time. And the French defence, as Megan was saying, are coming up really quickly in those early 1 or 2 phases. They're trying to strip the ball, trying to disrupt everything. And Emma has that ability to beat the first player, to carry on through contact, even fight through the tackle that is made to get that extra, we're talking inches, centimetres, just to get forward momentum that then makes the decisions easier. So she'll miss there. But she's right as well. She's frustrated with how the end of that second half turned out, because the 14-3 would have been a big difference to 28-3.
Well, we certainly do wish her a speedy recovery. Taking us back to today's game, although the scoreline shows us that France are dominating, they're not without ill discipline, and they are making quite a few mistakes out there.
Yeah, Megan, you said it, I think it's 8 or 9. It was certainly 7 penalties conceded in the first 20 minutes. And that came from a lot of Scottish pressure as well. At the breakdown, Evie's getting in really well and winning penalties at turnover time. There was 1 or 2, there was a trip obviously in Chloe Rowley that was a ill discipline. But I think it comes from the eagerness to get off the line and get up and make big collisions and straying offside too early. So they won't be happy with that. But I think from a Scotland perspective, it gave Scotland the opportunity to get momentum back in the game after falling behind early, and kicking those 3 points was the right decision.
Yeah, I think looking for points was something that needed to happen a bit more last week against Wales. So the fact that they've got points on the board and haven't left with nothing is a positive, and I think they'll be looking to do more of that in the second half.
Yeah, it's 8 penalties that France have racked up so far, so they'll be hoping for no more in the second 40, certainly not trying to get into double figures anyway. As for Scotland, in attack, what are they doing well and what do they need to do better?
Well, I think they came back into the game reasonably well after falling behind because they retained possession, and we keep saying it, France want to turn you over as quick as possible, so you have to work really hard. Christian Belial has 2 or 3 excellent carries. That's a really good example of what we're saying about just allowing the momentum to come forward, but I think the ball has to be quicker. I think we're competing really well in the scrum, but then if the ball gets away a little bit quicker, you don't allow France to give that secondary effort that has been disrupting us a little bit. So I do think, just, and Emma Wassel said it there as well, a little bit quicker with the ball away at scrum and then in a breakdown when you do get that momentum that go forward.
Megan, they talked about wanting to be more clinical. Watching that first 40, have you seen evidence that they are?
There's glimpses of it, definitely, and there's elements that they will be pleased with, but I think there's just parts that are letting them down a little bit. Yeah, France are just suffocating Scotland at the minute, and I think if they can hold on 2, 3, 4 phases, they will start to make ground and break the defensive line. But as you were saying, we need more carries like Christine's making just to get over that gain line.
I think as well, I think we can almost like tactically try and play a little bit of game with France in terms of the backfield cover. The wind as we've come out the stand now, France were playing into the wind a little bit in that first half, so they'll have that at their backs in the second half, and I think we have to almost put an extra player in the backfield to try and stop them kicking. Or trying to make them think about when they're kicking. So loads of tactical stuff as well, but I will see how the second half turns out.
Okay, many thanks to both of you. We'll hand you back to your commentary team, Thomas Duncan, Colin Gregor and Heather Lockhart.
Those 2 tries just before the break really put a positive complexion on the scoreline for France, but it has been more competitive than the 4 converted tries to 3 points looks. As the sides emerge from the tunnel to warm applause at Scotstoun. And these sides were teams in good form before coming into the Six Nations. France hammered South Africa, had back-to-back wins against New Zealand. Scotland, of course, sensational coming through the World Cup qualifying tournament, and they'll look forward greatly to playing in the World Cup in the autumn in a pool alongside the host New Zealand, Australia and Wales. And it's all about trying to build some momentum heading into that World Cup, and a victory in the Six Nations would go a long, long way to doing that. They're really up against it here. It looks unlikely, but it's all about performance in this second half for Brian Eason's side. And it looks like France are going to make a change. Alexandra Chambon there, the scrum half, going to make way perhaps for Laure Sansus, who did go down with her 2 tries after her second try, did go down with what looked like a back injury. Nelson to get Lisa Thompson, sorry, to get us underway again for Scotland. Can they find a response? Will France find some more fluency? We're about to find out. Oh, and it's an early charge down, and it's bouncing about. Bonner's in there, so it's back, but it goes forward. It's still there, and France eventually clear up. Terrific pressure from Scotland, but it just didn't fall for them.
Yeah, exactly the start Scotland want for this second half. It's almost about ignoring what's happened in the first half. The score just reset, see how they can get on in a 40-minute game against France. Great pressure on the kick there. And you think the way the ball's bouncing and bobbling and guddling, and Leah Bartlett's almost in a position, I think it might have been a knock-on before getting to her. As it was, she couldn't quite gather it, but let's see if Scotland can apply some pressure at scrum time.
Chambon to put in. Menage puts a foot through it. France with a fairly clean exit.
Superb start to the second half for Scotland. Great pressure there. They're on 61% possession, so it's trying to turn that possession into territory and into more points.
Yeah, because obviously the scoreboard is the stat that matters, but when you look at Scotland having a lot of the possession, you look at the tackles made, France have made 73 to Scotland's 37, so there's a lot of stuff that Scotland are doing well. It's just trying to turn that into some sort of scoreboard pressure.
Here they go through MOR. Here goes Rolly. Always a threat with ball in hand. It's a bit slow though. Maxwell gets it away. The pass goes to ground. It's cleaned up by McMillan, who's trying to be held up by France. French counter-rucking. Gros is in there. Maxwell does get it away. Foul, looking to make the hit. She does, but the pass had gone, and Thompson takes it forward for Scotland. Maxwell comes back the other way. Konkol with a hit. No surprise, she's been Scotland's top carrier again this afternoon, Jade Konkol. Here's Belisle, who's been willing as well. Maxwell to Nelson, and it's a drop from Orr. Mistake at a crucial point. And France recover, and Chambon puts the clearance in, but it's straight out, so Scotland will have the line out back up in France's half.
No, unfortunately, Munarini, the referee, said no advantage from the knock-on from Orr, so I think they'll come back for the French scrum. But Scotland's attack looking good there, getting some more tempo than they'd had in the first half, varying their point of contact, getting a bit of width. Chloe Rowley hitting an excellent line to, again, just almost get beyond the French defence, keep Scotland on the front foot. But then you then get the Konkol v Fall clash in midfield, and I mean, there's been a couple of them. They are just ferocious collisions, but Konkol's doing well. She's let Scotland regather ball or keep a hold of ball, but just a little error there that just allows France to have the put into this scrum.
Crouch.
Yeah, there was certainly more fluidity in that attack.
Just 44 metres made from 8 carries for Jade Konkol this afternoon. Another incredible shift. But here we go, France packed out, and again it's stable. Gros on the short side to Chambon. Good defence from Scotland. It's Rachel Malcolm, the captain, who bundles the French scrum half into touch. France are claiming that she released the ball.
Line out.
That's a good dominant tackle from Malcolm that almost fool's goal from France there, thinking they could sneak up the blind side there, but Malcolm using that touchline as you'd hope and expect your defence to, and had the physicality on the replacement French scrum half, Chambon.
Still all here.
Rachel Malcolm really playing a captain's role this week in the aftermath of the Welsh match and leading her team today.
Yeah, she spoke well about wanting to move the women's game in Scotland on, trying to get professional contracts, the players on kind of individual support packages at the moment, but all of them studying or have jobs. It's France. Go forward. Chambon gets it away. There's Hermé with a terrific offload at the back, and there's Castel. As France makes some yards, some valuable yards. Here's Chambon, foul. Again used as a decoy, but it goes to deck, and Scotland can now put the pressure on. It's McMillan chasing after it. Chloe Jacquet dives on the ball and took a dunt from McMillan in the process.
Use it.
France have control at the base of the ruck. Clear downfield in the space between Gaffney and Rowley, and France find touch.
Again, good pressure from Scotland, getting the fly hack on. It's almost a knee to the head here in the chase. I think you're meant to allow the player to get up. Don't know if Munarini's having a look.
So the referee, Clara Munarini, saying if we see something, then we'll take action. The French captain Gallier pointing to that challenge from McMillan. Here it is again.
Jackie does well to get down on the loose ball. You aren't meant to allow the player to get back up rather than diving on top of them. However, the officials are happy or content that there was no foul play, nothing to review. And as it is, it's Lana Skeldon and Scotland that have the put into the line out.
Chance for Scotland to...
We might not be done with it quite yet. There seems to have been a slight pause.
Looks like it's going to be a penalty after all, against Louise McMillan for that challenge. As you said, Colin, you are supposed to let a player get to their feet before you take them.
Where exactly?
Player welfare being paramount as well. They're looking out for that.
Of course,
Any
no
contact
with the head. No
just a second,
nonsense.
just a second. Is number 4 white, 4?
Louise McMillan could be in
4 white,
for a
4.
lecture here, perhaps.
Okay. Okay.
Looks like it's just going to be a penalty to France, eventually sorted out.
4 white.
I think this is where absolutely the right decision was made. I think the challenge is for the crowd, the spectators in the ground. They're not too sure. There was no symbol from Munarini as to why the penalty was given. Completely the right decision, and instead of it, we're basically back where we were on the 10-metre line. But France, because it was the penalty, they kicked the touch. They've got the put into this line out. So rather than being in a defensive position, they're in a really strong offensive position.
Touye with the throw, it's claimed. Tremoulier to foul.
Superb tackle there, superb by Evie Gallagher.
Tremoulier. Ménager breaking a tackle. Here goes Chambon down the short side. She makes it yards, gets round the tackler. France go again. Calafui. Dei down the short side. The forwards doing the heavy lifting at the moment.
Use it! Tackle!
Scotland holding firm, but here's Ferrer. Foul, that was behind her. Driven back, and here's Jacquet. Tricky customer. Always seems to break the first tackle. Ferrer. Offload away, fantastic offload to Anari. But Scotland, Conkle's in there, driving back. The hits going in has been superb on both sides this afternoon. Chambon. Tremoulier puts the kick up. Lloyd's there and calls the mark. Good defending from the winger.
Great defending from Scotland. France throwing everything at them, some huge carries. They hit the first one from fall, but then Calafui, as you say, getting involved as well. And then Tremoulier wanting to go to the width, but Scotland's defence really aggressive. Thompson getting up in the eye line of Tremoulier, so she's not confident passing. Tries the kick, and it's good defence, good catch from Rona Lloyd.
France can counter here through Anari. Chambon gets it back. Tremoulier whips it out to Jacquet. Here's Ménager. Again, makes just a couple of yards before having her ankles taken away. Turnover. Scotland, brilliant counter-rucking in there. And they come away with the ball. Here's Skeldon. Can they secure possession?
Another turnover.
Scotland lost the ball, have it back, and here's another turnover with Jacquet, and that bundled into touch.
Yeah, I think the ferocity of the breakdown. I think both sides take credit there for the absolute ferocity at the breakdown. Really just, I think Scotland have come out in the second half with up their game, and the physicality at the breakdown on both sides is impressive.
Sarah Law
on for a 50th cap.
Fantastic achievement for her.
Congratulations, Sarah Law. What a fantastic achievement. I know all your family, Rachel, Andy, Dawn, will just be absolutely delighted, and all your friends. Congratulations, Sarah.
Yeah, great service to Scotland. Sarah Law, Emma Orr making way, the 19-year-old. It's been a brutal shift in the midfield this afternoon, and she's done well after an outstanding performance last week.
Yeah, she's done really, really well, and I'm sure everyone at Biggar will be here supporting her today.
It's great Scotland have the 19-year-old starting, but then they've got the opportunity to bring some experience on. Just a slight rejig in the back line, presuming that Sarah Law will go on at fly half, and Maxwell and Thompson will both just move out one position, so from 10 to 12 and 12 to 13.
That's what it's looking like at the moment.
Sarah Law kicked that last-minute conversion against Ireland that took them through to the playoff. She nailed a similar late kick against Wales in the Six Nations previously. A clutch player. Shame for Scotland. The scoreline is a bit too far apart at this moment for that.
Indeed, yep, France gone to the bench as well. 3 changes in the forwards. Couple of props, and Fall has made her way off that she's put in some shift today.
Here's Scotland looking to get out their own half. Law gets a first touch. Nelson Raleigh jinks inside and gets a half yard before being brought down. Maxwell.
Number 17, Coco Lindalove. Number 18, Clara Munarini. And number 19, Safi Ndiaye.
Maxwell back to Law, who puts it out the park. Is it straight out as well?
Unfortunately, from a Scottish perspective, it was indeed, yep.
Yeah, disappointing for Sarah Law. France with a chance to put some pressure on. We've had no score in the first half. You can see those French changes there in the front row. And Safi Ndiaye coming on, 2-time Grand Slam winner.
Not a bad replacement for Fall, is she?
85th cap today, scored here when they played in 2020.
Here come France, but Jacquet knocks on and Law picks up. Here's Maxwell. Nelson wide. There's an overlap here for Scotland if they want it. It's Gaffney who gathers off her chest. Good tempo from Scotland. Here's Conkle. Makes a few yards. No hands, says the referee. France get out there. Raleigh. Here goes Nelson, takes the hit from Ménager. Conkle with the one out past the bar makes the yards. That's more like it from Scotland, creating tempo into the midfield with Malcolm. France on the back foot, they reorganise their defence. Maxwell to Law. Here's Belisle in midfield, terrific from the prop. Another one out pass, McMillan makes the yards. The crowd love it here at Scotstoun, and it's a penalty to France. The momentum stalled. Straight in at the ruck at the first opportunity.
Oh, fantastic attack again, wasn't it, Heather?
Absolutely.
Just until the that's the line that McMillan ran, just the little tip pass. Scotland just getting between defenders, as you see there. Belisle getting on the outside of Jacquet, getting on the front foot, and then as we come back in field, it's a great little short pass, and the kind of out to in line, getting beyond that French defence, but almost running away from her support. And you see the first 2 French defenders do really, really well just to recognise that Scotland, McMillan is isolated. They can latch onto that ball. Scotland just too slow to support. France win the penalty.
What was great there was Jade, an extra pop pass we talked about in the first half, just creating space for the next player, and a superb run there by Louise.
Here comes Katie Mattinson for Jenny Maxwell. Matheson has won England caps, but taken advantage of World Rugby's new residency rules. If you stand down for 3 years from your original side, then you can switch nationalities. And she's on now for Scotland.
Jade Conkle as well, coming off, looking in a bit of discomfort, whether it's shoulder by the looks of things. Another huge shift from Conkle.
Yeah, and that could be a worry for Scotland with games against Italy and Ireland to come.
A huge 11 carries in 54 minutes. It's big work, 6 tackles as well from Conkle.
And 36 carries in the 2 matches previously. It's 3 matches in a row. That's a lot of load.
No one had carried more than Jade Conkle after the first 2 rounds. It's a big physical presence loss for Scotland in this final 25 minutes. France can't make it pay. Boulard spills it. Here's Raleigh, the Scotland fullback. Matheson. Skeldon gets over the gain line. Matheson urged to use it. Law into the midfield where Bartlett was waiting. Scotland not going anywhere quickly, but they've got numbers out this way. Skeldon. Here's Thompson, puts boot to ball. Tremouille gathers for France. Here's Emily Boulard. Puts the kick in, straight out. And that's a huge boost for Scotland. A mistake from the young fullback, 22 years old.
Sarah Law recognised that immediately and was pointing. She knew straight out.
1 metre the other side of the line, and it's a 50-22. It's the fine margins, but Scotland are doing well. Their attack the last few minutes, whether it's the short passes, they're just varying their attack. They're putting in a little bit of footwork before contact. They're running between the French defenders. A lot of the first half, it was big, dominant French tackles because Scotland were running straight at them and they were getting smashed. They're now just getting some footwork or just running at space a little bit better, which, again, you see there, Scotland getting on the front foot as a result of it.
France in a strong position to go 3 from 3 and keep pace with England at the top, but Scotland have the ball and Law spills it, dives on it, recovers it. The Scotland replacement, Matheson, it's loose to Bonner. Here's Nelson. Skeldon, good hands. France up fast though.
Too fast. Scotland have an advantage for a penalty, I think.
Matheson puts the kick up and will come back for the penalty for offside. Coco Lindelof, the substitute, infringing.
Again, in that attack, going through the players rather than against one, straight into them.
I think don't have the same treatment and the time is really up. I'll check.
Well done, Rachel Malcolm. There have been an awful lot of French penalties, and yes, whilst they're not being for the same infringement, it is just that persistent offending.
Yeah, I think Rachel Malcolm making the point it's disruptive either way, illegally. Time off here for Leah Bartlett to get some treatment, the Scotland prop. There is Rachel Malcolm.
Yeah, definitely this quarter of the match, Scotland have had more possession. Now it's just trying to get that territory to turn that into points.
You want energy from your bench, and that's exactly what Scotland have got. The change that, not because of Orr going off Emma Orr as a player, but actually just the energy that Sarah Law's brought to the game, and it's just led to Scotland attacking just a bit more variety to their game. And they've had a really sort of positive last 10 minutes or so. Again, the challenge is when these positive periods, when they're getting good front football, it's how do you go the next stage and make that into points?
Molly Wright on. It looks like Leah Bartlett's race is run. Molly Wright, a hooker by trade, but perhaps going into prop.
Yeah, on the team sheet she's listed as covering all 3 front row positions, so good luck to you, Molly, and I'm sure you'll do fantastically.
New Zealand born Molly Wright on for her 12th cap for Scotland. Here we go with Lana Skeldon. Finds McMillan. Very reliable line-out option, Louise McMillan. Skeldon has it at the base of the maul. A long way for Scotland to travel. They're not in the 22 yet, but they're trying to get something going, trying to get France on the back foot. Here's Nelson. Whips it out wide to Thompson. Here's Raleigh. Gaffney is out wide in the overlap. That's fantastic from Chloe Raleigh. Making the yards, evading the defenders. Here's Skeldon. France disrupting at the rock, and it's a penalty.
Scotland really that fantastic play from that back ball at line out, which is working so well against England. And I think now it's just that fine detail at the breakdown. We know that France are going to be in there physical. I mean, Scotland need to clear out the threat immediately.
What a fend from Chloe Raleigh there to just make the extra yards. And it's just Skeldon, it's great, it's a good carry again. She's just really unfortunate because Rachel McLaughlin in support loses her footing just as Skeldon goes into contact. So rather than McLaughlin being in position to clear that French defender out, she's off her feet. And as a result, I think it's Ndiaye again just getting in over ball. But good Scottish attack, as you say, Heather, going to the back at the line out, getting some front foot from the maul. Look at that fend from Raleigh, it's brilliant. And then it's the right option. It's a good run from Skeldon. As you see, it's almost in the tackle. Ferrer, the French second row, just takes the feet away from McLaughlin.
France have it. And clear. Gaffney's underneath this ball for Scotland. Can't gather, but that's backwards. She'll run it now. Met by 3 blue jerseys. High tackle though, penalty Scotland, and a chance to get themselves up the pitch.
Well taken by Megan there. Scotland's back 3 have scored 15 tries in the last 7 matches. Megan hasn't scored in the last 2. Chloe has, and Rona Lloyd got 2 last week. So Megan's turn today.
Scotland haven't scored a single point after the 50th minute in their games so far. No score from either side in this second half, but a chance here to get up the pitch and into the final quarter. The game might be gone, but if they could just get a try, something to build on, you never know.
Yeah, and they've held France to 0 in this second half, and France are a quality team, and it then comes back to the 2 scores just before half-time and how frustrating that was. But in terms of looking at the second half as a game in itself, Scotland, there's a lot of positives. They've not territorially been all that near to the French line, but this is a great position for them to now attack from.
Here comes Scotland. Gaffney. Slow ball though. The tempo drops. Here's Mattinson. It was play on. I think Katie Mattinson thought it was a penalty there.
She said to the ref, "Give me the penalty. I want the quick tap," but nope.
Well recognised by Molly Wright, acting scrum half there.
Here goes Law. Mattinson has to scramble to salvage possession for Scotland. Nelson whips it out wide. France counter-rucking frantically. We're back for the other penalty. This time Katie Mattinson does have the option to tap.
Decides France are set defensively, so yeah, let's see. Scotland just pop it to the corner.
Wait for my whistle. That's all.
A good chance for Scotland here. Need to make it pay. Romane Ménager is now on for France to join her twin sister. She's a back rower, Roman Ménager.
I think it was her sister that felt the full force of the Chloe Raleigh right hand with that fend a few moments ago. Similar to position to where Scotland are just now on the field.
Skeldon to throw for Scotland. Up high goes McMillan.
Super back ball.
A superb lift. And here goes the ball. The Scotstoun crowd urge it on. Skeldon with it tightly under her arm. It's making progress. Slowed now, and Mattinson will use it. It's Nelson, and Thompson spills. It's backwards though, and Law recovers. France spread the field. Skeldon always looking to get on the ball, the hooker. Forward again by Scotland. Nelson, lovely pass from Thompson, and it's forward off Gaffney. She maybe wasn't expecting that quick pass, but an advantage was being played. Now Lisa Thompson needing some treatment.
Yes, really good Scottish attack again, matched by some robust French defence, but just about get on the front foot there. Just one missed tackle. He recognises space out in the width. It's a big tackle on Thompson as we see it, a slow-mo replay here. Is the ball already gone? I think she's committed there, puts her down on her back. Is it Laurent, the French left winger?
No suggestion of any lifting beyond the horizontal there.
Just add another sore body to the Scottish contingent, I think, given the ferocity of the French defence. But another chance for Scotland then. So they've gone to the corner again. I think, have they? They're about to. So set up the line. The ball was going well there. I wondered, could they have kept it going? They took the ball out the back. Just think that now's the chance. Now's the time to strike.
Yeah, after being under a lot of pressure in the line-out in the first half, it's steadied somewhat for Scotland. Louise McMillan's taken a couple recently. Terrific lift at the last one as Jessie Tremoulière, with a try and 4 conversions to her name, makes way.
It's been outstanding.
Wasn't taken cleanly by Scotland, and do France have the ball? They do. Now penalty Scotland. Is it sealing off or off feet? And it looks like there's a card coming here for France. Julie Annery, the victim of a big penalty count.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think that one was a professional foul or yellow card worthy in itself. You thought France had stolen possession. They'd turned over the Scottish line out, but the referee disagrees or thinks they've done it illegally. Scotland have gone to the corner again.
Another chance, and France steal it. Ferrer gets in there on her 50th cap with a crucial intervention.
I think Scotland have got it back.
They've got it back. They do.
Great reorganisation.
And here goes Scotland. Evie Gallagher. Mattinson, here's Malcolm, the captain. Mattinson. Here's Skeldon, makes the break. A couple of metres short. Oh, and France get in there again. It's just that slow ball. And the chance is gone. It's just a hesitation at the rock. And it's a knock on here from France, but it's get regathered. Scotland looking to turn this into a maul or hold it up.
Should be Scotland put
and
in.
Emmeline Groh tries to get to deck, but she's not got that ball down. Very scrappy.
For France's number 6, Julie Annery. Has spent 10 minutes in the cylinder.
Fantastic attack there by Scotland, reorganising from the line out, but just losing it. But again, putting pressure on the French line there.
It's just big French defence. When they need to come up with a turnover, they do, but then they can't clear their lines. They're held up over their own line, so it is a Scottish put into this scrum. So last 5 minutes, Scotland have been camped on the French line.
Yeah, I think Scotland just 3 or 4 phases in, just really need to nail that breakdown, but superb attack.
Here we go, Scotland scrum. And this might allow them to open up the field a bit more.
Bind! Set!
Martinson. Good scrum from Scotland, but it's been hooked back by France, and it's a penalty, though, illegally, says the referee. It's tapped and go by Martinson. She tries to go for the line. She's hit back. Here's Helen Nelson. She's over. Can she get it down? She's hit back. Incredible defence. Scotland still going. Skeldon. Molly Wright's there, but France with a counter yet again, disrupting Scotland ball. Here's Malcolm, the captain. There's a latcher on to try and drive her over the line. It's Martinson. It's wide. Surely now for Scotland, no. Terrific defence from the French.
Tackle, Liz! Stay on! Stay on!
Malcolm. 4 metres out, Scotland. Here's Bilal, Christine Bilal for the line. Martinson, Law, can she get it out wide? She can, it's Chloe Law to score for Scotland. Finally, their patience pays off. And Chloe Raleigh gets her second try of these Six Nations back in the side this afternoon and just powered her way over. And Scotland have something to show for this second half.
And the Scotstoun crowd have something to cheer.
Fantastic phases, great carry there by Christine Bilal, really hard carries, lovely hands. Great feet by Chloe, and she had some work to do there. Great touchdown, well done.
It's been checked by the officials, but I think you can see there the grounding looks clear.
Yeah, but it's the forwards that lay the groundwork, isn't it? The little short pass there that just Rachel Malcolm gets on the front foot again. Look at the carry there. Fantastic tackle from Jacquet. Look at this pass here from Law, just recognising that France are trying to shut out the threat. Boulard flying up off the line. But the weight of the pass from Law is magnificent. And Raleigh's not passing it one further out. She's saying, I'm having this try.
Good ruck by Rachel McLaughlin to secure the ball.
Ella Nelson to take Scotland into double figures. It's sliced. But Scotland's winning the second half 5-0 anyway. There is encouragement to be taken from that as we enter the final 10 minutes. France, though, still on for the bonus point win, which they desperately need if they want to win the title. Ball was in touch.
Yeah, Scotland put in, or Scotland throw, though. France touched it in their efforts to try and keep the ball in. It's a great clearing kick from the restart. France in their efforts yep, to try and keep it in play. I think they touched it out of play and then tried to bluff the referee with a quick line out. She's having none of it. Scotland again on the front foot.
France with the bonus point already in the bag, and they haven't been quite at it in the second half. Scotland playing really well, and here's Sarah Law. Gaffney looking for work, coming inside, gets her knee on the floor, which means it's a tackle France have to release. Nelson out to Thompson, superb. Here's Lloyd, who's got pace. Jacquet makes the cover tackle. Right, good defence. Martinson gets it away. Good take over the head, and that's lovely. Hands, Lloyd with the ball back in her hands. Mattinson goes for the chip, and Boulard takes that. And when on the floor, calls the mark. Rona Lloyd perhaps took a sore one there as she challenged for the ball.
Scotland just trying to vary the attack there. Rona Lloyd being done for a tackle in the air, which is absolutely right. She very selflessly provides the mattress for Boulard to land on, which prevents any sort of danger to the catcher. Yep, Mattinson just trying to mix up Scotland's attack.
It's really this half very much Scotland's attack against the French superb defence.
Yeah, France will be hoping that when they come back up to 15 they can maybe get up the other end and finish with a flourish, because they've not been in Scotland's half for some time, it feels like.
Yes, Heather says they've been absorbing a lot with Scotland, again, dominating possession. A lot more variety to the Scottish attack. They've looked far more dangerous. The bench has had a really positive impact. Rachel McLaughlin, Molly Wright, as well as Sarah Law, who we touched on earlier, have been really positive with their impacts off the bench, bringing the energy. Just Scotland have had a bit more width to their attack, as France again. A couple of unforced errors in this second half from France. They've not been able to build any sort of pressure on Scotland, which again, it's all positives for the Scotland team.
Jackie with the knock-on, but here Laura Trouillet, the hooker's going off. Celia Domat, her replacement. Castel, the winger, being replaced as well. Gabrielle Vernier now on the wing for France, although she's played centre in the last couple of games, so there might be a reshuffle. Big scrum for Scotland. Mattinson puts it in, but here comes a squeeze. They're under pressure, and then there's the penalty as Chambon is too keen to get round the fringe and put Mattinson under pressure. So powerful, this pack, though, this French pack.
Molly Wright doing well there at loose head on the initial shove, and just got to stay a wee bit lower, but well done there on the initial shove.
Lisa Thompson makes touch, and another chance for Scotland as we have 5.5 minutes left to finish with aplomb.
Thompson eked every last yard out of that kick that France jumping to try and keep the ball in field, but excellent judgment from Thompson. See if the forwards set up their maul. Oh, good French defence.
Ferrer, I think, with a hand in there, perhaps.
No hands.
So disruptive at the line out all afternoon. Cleared away. Here goes Megan Gaffney returning for Scotland. Still they're camped in France's half. It's spun wide for Lisa Thompson in the wide channel, tries to put a kick through, it comes off Boulard and then potentially back off Thompson.
Gaffney,
that's a high tackle here, perhaps.
Yeah, Gaffney trying to straighten and get through the French defence. And then recognition from Rolly that there's space out wide. But France quickly shut that space, and Thompson's grubber kick ricochets back off her.
Celia Domat, the French replacement hooker, with her first throw. Oh, and she doesn't find the target, and then the Scotstoun crowd love that. Scotland with the ball, you can see it there. Katie Mattinson says keep it in. Now she takes. Skeldon out to Law. Here's Nelson, gets the ball away to Thompson. Flung back out for Rolly, the try scorer for Scotland. Good leg drive from the fullback. Skeldon pops it off to Belisle, who again makes the yards. Wright's turn to take it up. Nelson. Here goes Mattinson. France has lost forward. Here come France, and did that one go forward? But here's Ferrer, can they counter? Here go France, and here's a chance opportunity. Gaffney's trying to get back. It's dived on by Chambon, the replacement scrum half. Here goes Perronet.
21.
France go quickly.
Here goes Ndiaye. It's put off. France go quickly. Chance now for Emily Boulard. Is she over? It's held up by Scotland. Terrific defence.
Fantastic Rona Lloyd in there. Thompson as well. France, you feel they had to score, but the pass goes to ground, and look at that from Thompson, Lloyd and Sarah Law. Just desperate not to let France score in this second half.
Fantastic desire there.
See a lot of tired bodies out there.
Now, Christine Belial, so time now to get the TikTok Six Nations Player of the Match from you, Heather Lockhart.
Yeah, some fantastic performances today, most notably from number 9, Sansus from France. Some fantastic performances as well in this second half from the Scottish team. Christine Belial with some incredible carries, and Sarah Law doing exceptionally well, coming on at number 10 on her 50th cap. But the TikTok Six Nations Player of the Match is Jessie Tremoulier at number 10. Fantastic, just controlling 13 points in her day's work. So congratulations, Jessie, on your 68th cap.
Yeah, classy performance from the full-back turned fly half for the afternoon.
Yeah.
As Scotland bring the changes.
Sorry, just going to say, even the couple of 50-22s that she put that just shifted momentum in that first half. Thoroughly deserved player of the match, and it was that first half from France that they scored their 28 points. That was where they did the damage. Since then, Scotland have done fantastically well to go 38 minutes to keep them scoreless.
Yeah, Scotland empty the bench. Jodie Retty, Katie Dugan and Meryl Smith all on. Just over a minute and a half remaining. France want to end it with a try. Here goes Boulard, who puts the kick over, runs into traffic.
No hands.
No hands, says the referee. Scotland win the ball.
Use it. See?
Mattinson will put the box kick up. Boulard takes. Here go France on the counter. Ménager. Penalty, Scotland.
Yeah, there was just the additional roll on the ground which prevented Scotland from getting any sort of competition at the breakdown. As we see it again, sometimes it's really difficult as the ball carrier not to roll Ménager as she goes to ground. She's just looking to present as quickly as she could, but in doing so, Jodie Retty couldn't get a competition at the ball. So Munarini absolutely right to give the penalty to Scotland. And so the final 20 seconds, Scotland a chance to score one more try.
That's Lindsay O'Donnell on. Congratulations, Lindsay. Last played for Scotland in 2017, so congratulations, Lindsay.
Jodie Retty with her first throw. Here comes Scotland Law. Here's Thompson. Rona Lloyd, double try scorer last week, makes a few yards. France hold up. And it's into touch, and there is a full-time whistle. France get the bonus point win they needed to keep their title hopes alive. The damage was done from a Scottish perspective in the first half. 4 tries from the French. Laure Saint-Sus with 2, Jessie Tremouillet with 1, and the captain Gaëlle Hermé with the other. Scotland did come back strongly in the second half. Chloe Rowley got herself on the score sheet, a really nicely worked try. But it wasn't to be, despite a spirited performance from Brian Eason's side. France march on towards a title and eye that showdown with England. It's finished here at Scotstoun. Scotland 8, France 28.
So France take the win here at Scotstoun this afternoon. Fantastic defensively and just too powerful for Brian Eason's Scotland side. 4 tries in the first half was enough for the visitors to overpower Scotland's women. Scotland secured the only points in the second half though. Chloe Rowley powering over the line despite a Scotland loss. Plenty of encouragement to take away and improvements from the prior 2 rounds of the tournament. Yeah, Chris, they're going to be disappointed with that result, obviously. However, there were positives to take away and a lot better in the second half.
Yeah, more intent, more attacking intent. We said at half-time, quicker possession or quicker ball, putting more pressure on the French defence was what was needed, and we got that Christine Belial, both halves actually carrying really well. Evie Gallagher as well, getting in behind, and it set a platform for the try that eventually came for Scotland. That was the only point in the second half, but defensively in the early part of that second half, Scotland were really good as well. They really held out. It's just that 4-minute period at the end of the first half, 36 minutes and 40 minutes, the 2 tries that swung the game really, or decided the game. But second half was a better performance from Scotland.
Megan, how will the girls be feeling right now?
I think they will be proud of their efforts in the second half, but I think a bit of frustration. Had they just kept alert for that last 4 minutes of the first half, things would have looked a lot different, and I think they would have come out maybe in an even better mindset. So to have won that second half just shows what they're able to do.
Let's look at Scotland's try then, and it barely got the noise levels up here at Scotstoun. Chris, talk me through Chloe Rowley. I mean, she just powered over the line.
She did. There was a lot of good build-up before. That's Christine Belial carrying there. Rachel Malcolm had a really important carry as well. Sarah Law with the pass over the top of that French defence. Megan Gaffney was in Chloe Rowley's outside, but you could see Chloe was going to score it. And when you make that decision, you've got to score, and she did. She fought really hard to get over the line. But just that momentum, where you're moving on to possession, it's quicker. You can see that the stress that the French defence are under. Scotland are in charge there on the front foot, but Chloe Rowley did really well. Scored against England in the opening round of the Six Nations. Missed last weekend's game, but deserves another try there.
Well, you just mentioned Rachel Malcolm there, the Scotland captain. She joins Iona Ballantyne.
Rachel, 3 defeats in a row. I know you won't dwell on that though. What will you take from today's match?
To an extent we will dwell on it, if I'm honest with you, because we've said it's not good enough for us to be losing, especially last week and this week. I think we showed in that second half we could have won that game if we turned up from minute 1, but what we will take from it is how well we came back in that second half. I said at half time, let's nil them second half. No matter what happens, we win this half. And that's exactly what we went out and did. I think we turned our set piece around, which was so pleasing because we had a rough first half. But credit to France, some of the moments of brilliance in the first half, particularly from Saint-Sus, who's just an outstanding player. So I put my hands up to it. It was very well done.
Chloe did finally get that try. It was a whole squad effort. For you as captain, that must be pleasing to see everybody come together.
Yeah, and it's what we probably didn't do as well last week in terms of when we were in that gold zone, go forward and capitalising on that pressure. And like you say, we kept our ball fast, which was a big focus for us, and that allowed Chloe to get in the corner. But it was a brilliant work rate. That second half, I cannot fault the work rate of our team and how hard we fought for that full 40 minutes. And that second half, we were the better team in my opinion, and it shows that we can compete with the best of them if we start from minute 1.
All right, Rachel, thank you very much. And on to the next one.
Cheers.
Rachel Malcolm there saying that they probably will dwell a little bit on today's result, but that she thought that they were the better team out there in the second half. Do you agree?
Yeah, I would say I do agree. they nailed them, like what they had set out to do during the half time, and I know they would have been hard on themselves in those changing rooms because they're better than that, and they proved that in the second half that they can compete with the best in the world and put points past them.
Okay, let's hear from the Scotland head coach Brian Easons with Iona.
Brian, there were some moments of magic today, but what will you take from that as a whole?
Disappointing first half. We didn't fire a shot that first half. We were really disappointed at half time. It wasn't what we were all about that first half. It was really quite disappointing. That set piece and attacking breakdowns first half, we had to tighten up on that. Got a little bit better second. We did talk at half time about nailing them and really like putting in a performance second half, which was nice, but we can't keep saying that. You know, it's not good enough to give teams that start and then put that pressure on the second half.
What happened in the first half then? What didn't go right?
We had 2 or 3 things that we weren't too pleased about. We had some good attacking sets. We just didn't fire a shot. You know, when you put pitch territory or territory pressure on a team, you've really got to take that. You've really got to pressurise teams by keeping the ball a little bit longer. And when you're losing ball early in a phase count, it just doesn't put enough pressure on the opposition. Second half, we did pressurise them a lot more. We're a lot better, and you saw the pressure they got under. They made more mistakes, and we knew that was going to happen.
You must be pleased for Chloe finally getting that try.
Yeah, look, Chloe did well. I think that was a team score. You know, they did squeeze France second half, and we had said that all through the week, is if you get the phase count up, they will get narrower and you will get opportunities. And again, that was the thing we were probably more disappointed about first half, is we didn't really do that. We didn't put them under enough pressure.
All right, Brian, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, cheers.
Brian Easton, the Scotland head coach there, talking to Iona. Brian was saying there that they just simply can't let those teams get that lead early on. Is that what is happening too often with this side?
It's certainly what happened today, and I think that the territory that France got allowed them the platform to get those tries. At Six Nations level, any level really, it's much harder if you have to chase the game. If you're ahead in the game and you can control territory, control possession, then you're in absolute control. But what they said there, both Rachel and Brian Easton said, was to nil France in the second half. That's a mini goal. Setting mini goals at half time is really important, and able to get that because there was 2 more rounds to go. But the defence in the early part of the second half was excellent. Brian's frustrated. He's obviously frustrated with the result last week, frustrated with the first half performance. I actually thought France were very good in the first half. Scotland could have improved, yeah, but I thought the story of the first half was, for me, was how good France were.
Okay, well, let's have a look at what's coming up across the BBC over the next couple of days. Well, we have at 7:15 tonight, you can see highlights of all this weekend's Premiership matches, including St Mirren Rangers from today. That's on the BBC Scotland channel. One of Scotland's pioneering female footballers is profiled in Julie Fleeting at 9 o'clock on BBC Alaba tonight. Scotland's women have a major World Cup qualifier at Hampden against Spain. That's also on BBC Alaba from 7:25 on Tuesday. And next weekend, well, it's all about the Scottish Cup semi-finals. The Edinburgh Derby is live on BBC One Scotland from midday on Saturday as Hibernian face Hearts. And on Sunday, Radio Scotland have live commentary of the second semi-final as Rangers and Celtic meet. That's at 1 o'clock. Well, yes, a bit of a disappointing day for Scotland here. They've lost out to Wales in their 3rd round Women's Six Nations match. My many thanks to Chris and to Megan, who joined me, and of course our commentary team as well. From all the team, please do enjoy the rest of your